This is Ronda Del Boccio, the story lady of StoryAsian.com. And I'm bringing a recipe that I adapted, actually. I learned it differently, but sometimes you make a few changes. And this is going to make some fudge. And it's not just ordinary fudge, it is my secret fudge. And I will be telling you later what the secret ingredient is. But what you want to start with is to get a big stock pot. And you're going to start with a stick of softened butter and a pint of heavy whipping cream. And I like to go a little gently with the heat, about medium at first, to get that butter all the way melted and be able to mix it in with the cream. The other ingredients that we're going to have, there's the pan ready to put it in. We're going to have powdered sugar and chocolate chips. And this bowl with ice cubes is how I learned to test whether fudge was done. And this is a blind person's method. If you don't have a candy thermometer to tell you when your candy is at the soft ball stage, then you can use ice water, and I'll show you how to do that. And there's also going to be some cocoa in this recipe. So, go back over to the pot here. So I've got a couple of lumps of butter that I would like them to soften. So then, once that's all melted, you're going to turn the heat up to high and add in the powdered sugar. So I'll be back with you very shortly. Okay, here we are back with the fudge pot, and I just turned on the light over my stove. I neglected to do that. I know when you're mostly blind you don't always think about lights, but it might be better for the video. So what I did to the 1 stick of butter and a pint of heavy whipping cream, I added a 2-pound bag of powdered sugar. I added it about 1/3 of the bag at a time, just so that I could pour some in and mix it, pour some in and mix it, and I've just added the last portion of it there. And the next thing, I better set the spoon aside so that I don't lose it. You don't want to be pulling your spoon out of hot candy, it's uncomfortable. So the next thing is I have maybe about 1/2 cup or so of cocoa powder. You don't have to do this, and the original recipe that I started with does not have this in it. However, I like it to be a little more chocolatey and not quite as sweet, so I like to add the cocoa in, and if you put it in and decide you want more, well, that's fine, you can always add a little more, but that should be about right. It's a nice rich chocolatey looking brown already, and that should be about right. And then this is going to cook on high heat until it gets to a soft ball stage, and that can be measured with your thermometer, but also it means that when you would put a little dribble of the candy into a little bowl of ice water, it would form a little blob and be able to be there on the side, so it wouldn't be too runny. And you don't want it too hard because rock fudge is not very good. But I'll tell you, one of the key things to consider when you're making this fudge is the mood that you're in, and the mood that you create is very important, and that leads to the secret ingredient that I will be revealing. I usually put on some music that I find inspiring and uplifting and just happy, good mood music. So I like to do that. And to make sure that I'm in a good mood, I don't want to watch the news while I'm doing it or talk about anything that's unsettling, because it does something to the taste of the candy. So this is definitely happy fudge, happy mood fudge. And when we put in the secret ingredient, it gets even better. So while we wait for this to go to soft ball, I'll be back with you very shortly. As the mixture cooks, you'll feel it thicken under your spoon. And by the way, what I'm stirring with is from Pampered Chef, and I know that it can take high heats, but if you just go to the discount store and buy those little stirry thingies, they are going to melt into your candy. So be aware. Use a wooden spoon, or you can use metal if you like, but a wooden spoon or something you know can take the heat. Like I said, this is from Pampered Chef, and it's nice because it will also scrape and serve as a bit of a spoon. So be aware of that. And you will feel it thicken, and that's one of the clues that tells you that the candy is cooking. And just to show you, I poured some of the candy, just dribbled it over the edge, and it's starting to get to a soft ball, but it's a little too loose yet. So I'm turned the heat off because the pot will hold in some heat, and I'm letting it finish off, and this will take you probably about 5 or 7 minutes, just depending on how hot your burner is. Now that's looking about right. And as I mix in, I took it off the heat, by the way. As I mix in the chocolate chips, excuse me, I'll tell you the secret ingredient. And what makes this fudge so special is that along with the ingredients, you mix in a blessing or a prayer into it. And so while I'm cooking, on my mind and in my heart is that I want anyone who enjoys this fudge to enjoy health and prosperity and goodness in their lives. And that is my intention and my thought. And you see, as I'm mixing the fudge, the chocolate chips in, it's getting harder to stir with the spoon, naturally, and it's turning an even a richer brown. I've put in about half of the chips. You want to mix this fairly quickly and pour it into your 9x13 pan, or you can use 2 smaller pans if you want. Be back soon. And there is the blessing fudge poured into a pan, and you might have to smooth it out just a little bit, and that's fine. Hopefully it won't land in a lump inside of your pan, but you'll spread it out a little bit to even it out. And your pan will come fairly clean. There's really not too much sediment or anything left in the pan, which is very easy to clean up. That's another way you know if you've got it right, it won't be all stuck to there. And the amazing thing about this blessing fudge is a lot of people can feel that there's something a little different and a little special about this. And yeah, sure, you can add, if you like, yours with nuts or almond flavoring or a little cinnamon or other kinds of things. You can certainly do that if you like. But definitely be of a happy heart and mind. Give this to people you love. Part of this batch is going to my dear friend, and I look forward to sending that to her as a special gift. So this is something I wanted to make sure you have, and it's not just for the holiday season, but for any time of the year you want to bring a special gift for somebody. You're going to end up with, I think about 6 pounds or so, 5 or 6 pounds this thing weighs when it's all said and done. So enjoy, and I'll show you once the fudge